Welcome to Bloodstained Stories, where we dive deep into the dark and gripping world of true crime. I'm your host, Joseph, and today we're examining the harrowing and ultimately inspiring case of Elizabeth Smart. In 2002, 14-year-old Elizabeth was abducted from her home in Salt Lake City, Utah, and held captive for 9 months by Brian David Mitchell and Wanda Barzee. Her incredible story of survival and resilience captivated the nation and shed light on issues of child abduction and recovery. Join me as we explore the details of Elizabeth's abduction, her courageous escape, and the investigation that led to her rescue. Are you ready to journey into the heart of true crime? Let's get started. In the early hours of June 5, 2002, 14-year-old Elizabeth Smart was abducted from her bedroom in Salt Lake City, Utah. For the next 9 months, she was held captive by Brian David Mitchell and his wife, Wanda Barzee, enduring unspeakable abuse and terror. Elizabeth's remarkable survival and eventual rescue became a symbol of hope and resilience, shedding light on the horrors of abduction and the incredible strength of the human spirit. Elizabeth Smart was born on November 3, 1987, into a close-knit and devoutly religious family. As the second of 6 children, she was known for her musical talents, kindness, and strong faith. The Smart family lived in a safe, affluent neighborhood in Salt Lake City, where the threat of such a heinous crime seemed unthinkable. Brian David Mitchell, a drifter with a history of mental instability and religious fanaticism, had worked briefly for the Smart family as a handyman. His wife, Wanda Barzee, was a willing accomplice in his delusional schemes. Mitchell believed he was a prophet called Emmanuel, and that he was commanded by God to take young brides. On the night of June 4, 2002, Elizabeth went to bed as usual, unaware that her life was about to change forever. In the early hours of the morning, Mitchell broke into the Smart home through an open kitchen window. He crept into Elizabeth's bedroom, where she and her younger sister, Mary Catherine, slept. Threatening Elizabeth with a knife, he forced her out of bed and led her away while Mary Catherine, paralyzed with fear, pretended to be asleep. Mitchell and Barzee took Elizabeth to a remote campsite in the foothills near Salt Lake City. There, she was subjected to a horrific wedding ceremony and repeatedly raped. Mitchell indoctrinated her with his twisted religious beliefs, using psychological manipulation and threats to maintain control. Elizabeth's disappearance triggered a massive search and nationwide media frenzy. The Smart family, particularly her parents, Ed and Lois Smart, were relentless in their efforts to find her. They made numerous public appeals, organized search parties, and worked closely with law enforcement. Despite these efforts, the investigation faced significant challenges. Mary Catherine, Elizabeth's sister, had seen the abductor but initially struggled to recall details due to trauma. It wasn't until several months later that she remembered Mitchell's identity, leading to a breakthrough in the case. On March 12, 2003, nearly 9 months after her abduction, Elizabeth was spotted in Sandy, Utah, just 18 miles from her home. Mitchell and Barzee, with Elizabeth dressed in a wig and veil, were walking down a street when they were approached by police. Elizabeth initially denied her identity out of fear, but under gentle questioning, she finally revealed the truth. Following Elizabeth's rescue, the investigation into Mitchell and Barzee's crimes intensified. Mitchell was diagnosed with severe mental illness, including delusional disorder, which delayed his trial for several years. Barzee, while also mentally unstable, was found competent to stand trial. Elizabeth provided detailed testimony about her ordeal, describing the daily abuses and psychological torment she endured. Her resilience and composure in court were remarkable, further illustrating her incredible strength and determination. Wanda Barzee pleaded guilty to kidnapping and unlawful transportation of a minor, and was sentenced to 15 years in federal prison. She was released in 2018, having served her sentence with credit for time served. Brian David Mitchell's trial was a protracted process due to his mental health issues. In 2010, he was finally found competent to stand trial. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence, including Elizabeth's harrowing testimony. Mitchell was convicted of kidnapping and sexual assault and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Elizabeth Smart's recovery and reintegration into society have been nothing short of extraordinary. She returned to her family and gradually resumed her education and public life. Elizabeth has since become a powerful advocate for missing persons and victims of abuse, using her experience to help others. She founded the Elizabeth Smart Foundation, which works to prevent future crimes against children and support victims. Elizabeth has also co-authored a memoir, My Story, detailing her abduction and survival, and frequently speaks at events, sharing her story of resilience and hope. The story of Elizabeth Smart is a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit. Her abduction and subsequent rescue highlighted the profound impact of abduction and the importance of resilience, family support, and unwavering hope. Elizabeth's journey from a terrified captive to a vocal advocate for victims illustrates the power of survival and the capacity for healing. Reflecting on Elizabeth Smart's experience, we are reminded of the critical need for vigilance, empathy, and support for victims of crime. Her incredible strength and resilience serve as an inspiration, demonstrating that even in the darkest of times, hope and courage can prevail. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Bloodstained Stories as we delved into the harrowing and inspiring story of Elizabeth Smart. If you found this deep dive into one of the most remarkable cases of survival and resilience compelling, please subscribe and leave a review. Your support helps us bring more in-depth true crime stories to you. Follow us on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes content. Have a theory or a case you'd like us to cover? We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and keep exploring the mysteries of the true crime world.